This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hi, my name is Phyllis Grant, and I'm a Mi'kmaq artist from Pabineau First Nation, and a lot of my work has to do with the stories and legends that I grew up with. My father, Gilbert Sewell, was a Mi'kmaq elder and storyteller, and I had the honor and privilege of him being my dad, right? And being able to hear these legends as I grew up and eventually became a filmmaker. And I tell those stories through animation, also through storytelling, like speaking, and music as well. So I want to relay some of the stories that he told me. I know that we are from what's called Inuagadi, which is a native place, and he used to say, I'm a storyteller, and the word for that is Adugwagan, which is a story. And he'd say, my name is Gilbert Sewell, and Adugwawinu, I'm a storyteller. So I never forgot that, and now that he's passed on, I guess I'm in the place where I have to, not have to, but I feel like it's my responsibility as an artist to carry it on and to keep the stories alive in our community, because a lot of times people say that our stories are dying, our language is dying, but I don't believe that. I really feel that we are enacting exactly what our ancestors would have done in the past. And one of the stories that I was first introduced to was one about the 8-point star, and he said that star fell from heaven and fell into the ocean and then crawled upon the shore. And that was the story of all of creation, or creation, where we came from. One of the stories, one of the Glooskap stories. Glooskap is our hero, our Ginap, our strong man, is part of that too. But he was a hero that was a giant, and he created the Maritimes and the land that we live in. Now, there's a lot of stories associated with Glooskap. One of them was that first star fell from heaven into the ocean, crawled upon the shore. There's another one about him shooting an arrow into an ash tree, and then the people came out. What I've learned through my arts practice is all of these stories are interconnected, and they tell a story about existence and living and being in such a way that you feel in tune with your surroundings and grounded and balanced, and also teach us lessons about mistakes that might happen in life or things that happen in life that we have to deal with, which oftentimes are quite heavy, especially in current times, like the current climate of the devastation, like the tragedy of finding our children that were found at residential schools. So our stories bring us wellness, and they share who we are, and they teach us. They're like a learning tool as well, not just so much entertainment, but they're a teaching tool of how to live and how to navigate life in such a way that you can find happiness and what's called sustainable happiness. I believe happiness is like a renewable resource, and the more you practice it, the more it occurs. So one Glooskap story that my dad, usually I go through the seasons of the year. In fall, my dad said that Glooskap had noticed that the children were very sad during the winter months. The weather was getting colder, and so he took the autumn leaves and changed them into little birds, and that was the chickadee. So the chickadee that you find today here, that was something that Glooskap created for the children, for the people to enjoy and to be a part of their lives and to bring that joy and happiness. So if you're at Daly Point, or you're at it somewhere in your yard or in the woods and a little chickadee comes down, that's something, he told me that Glooskap put that animal there to help you along your journey and to share that joy. The story of Mi'kmaq is one of a spirit that you meet in the woods, that you might see a face in the trees, and sometimes, depending on if you're pure of heart or not, Mi'kmaq can either help you or hinder you. So when you are going along your path in life, the meaning of this story is to be very careful about what your heart's interest is and what you want to do, and make sure that it's something that's good for all of the community. Because if it's not, then Mi'kmaq won't help you. Now, Mi'kmaq is also part of the Little People that we have, which is another legend that interconnects with all of the legends. Little people are like spirits or fairies or entities that have the magic of like Mi'kmaq. And again, they can either help you or hinder you depending on your motivations, or they think you're good for the community or not. So, and sometimes they're like a trickster as well. There's lots of stories of them moving things in the house, or turning off lights, or you'll know there's a Mi'kmaq presence, and Bugaladam, which actually is what they're called, Mi'kmaq presence, or Bugaladam, which are the little people, and yeah, they could play tricks on you too. So the story of Bugaladam, is one that they told the children because they were worried about them playing too far out into the fields and the woods, and they wanted them to stay close to the village. So they tell them to be very careful, because Bugaladam were known to kidnap you if you were out too far away from the community. So you have to be very careful with Bugaladam Witch.
Johnny wanted to go back home. It was 1,000 kilometers away. They forced him to go to the Indian residential school. More than 150,000 of us children had to go. They wanted to change us.
Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name.
Hallowed be your name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done.
thy will be done.
Kill the Indian and the child. It's been called cultural genocide. I survived residential school. My brother Johnny did not.
Chani Wenjack was one of thousands of children who died due to Canada's residential school system. More than 80,000 survivors and their families still live with its legacy today.
We're living in a civil war.
What do you want?
I want my family with me. I want you.
I know nothing else but Belfast. Go now. Don't look back.
They're picking my family off one by one.
Let's fight like demons.
If anything happens, will you protect Paul?
With my life.
No!
When we turn a blind eye to racism, we turn a blind eye to ourselves. As Canadians, we disavow all forms of racism. Built on a foundation of cultural acceptance, we choose inclusion, promote equality, and celebrate diversity. Choose health, not hate.
It's packed to the rafters in the Edmonton Arena. Everyone is feeling the pressure on the Grads as they await the American champs. Here's the Cleveland favorite Knits now, and boy, do they look impressive.
Look at their uniforms. I bet you could sure run in smart shirts like those.
Not that. Look, world champs, my eye.
Grads, we don't play for glory. We play the game for the game's sake. So tonight, you're going to earn that title by playing your game. Teamwork, passing. Let's show them what it means to play the Grads.
Champions for 25 years. The record of 502 wins and only 20 losses is unmatched in all of sport.
Everybody come along, everybody sing a song, lighten up and carry on. It's a brand new day. Everybody come along. Everybody sing a song. Lighten up and carry on. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day.
When an impaired driver killed my brother DJ, some people used the A word. They called it an accident, but it wasn't. An accident implies that no one was at fault. But when someone impaired by alcohol and/or drugs chooses to drive, they're fully responsible for the crash that can result. So please, for the memory of my brother DJ and the thousands of families whose lives have been shattered by impaired drivers, let's drop the A word.
A crash caused by impaired driving is not an accident.
Hello, my name is Robert Crisco. I am from the Pabineau First Nation. I am the Special Research and Projects Coordinator here at Pabineau First Nation, and we're doing the Indigenous Knowledge Study for the Little River, and we have 3 Indigenous study researchers that are here.
My name is Phyllis Ignace. I'm an elder, and I work with the Little River Project, and I usually ask all the questions about the Little River, starting with the ancestry, the knowledge of the Little River, and then I would ask about the trees and the plants and the fish species in the river, and what type of fish that are caught at that time or was angled at by anybody, and what type of trapping was done. And I would ask about the human disturbance of the water, and then I would ask like the protocol for the Little River Project, like the warm water protocol. But that's mostly the things that would go on in the Little River. But these are only some of the questions, because there's a lot of other questions to be asked.
Hi, I'm Twyla. I am the adult researcher. What my job is, after the interviews are finished, I transcribe every word that's been taped.
Hi, my name's Katie Williams, and I'm also a researcher on this project. I'm from Pabineau First Nation, and what I do is I mark down pretty much on the map where people are saying there's fish or what kind of trees and stuff, so it makes it easier. So we can put it on this sheet here, which is pretty much, I put the trees, the animals, and the birds, and then I go through elders, adults, and youths, and I tally how much of what they say of each one. And then after that, we put it down on here, which is the sheet that we used for the whole total. And then eventually we all put it in a report. And then that's when the transcribing comes in and they make a folder and then they send that.
This project is actually started on July the 5th of 2021. Is running for 17 weeks. It'll be ending on October the 22nd. And by then we will have all the information, and we're looking to get a healthy number of elders, a healthy number of adults and youths to participate in this project, in which we have over 40 or 50 elders. Same with the adults and youths, getting up to 40 or 50. So it's doing very well. We're within our targets. So this is sponsored through the AFSAR, that's an Aboriginal Fund for Species at Risk, and this is a Species at Risk project. Even though it's an Indigenous Knowledge project, it's still focused towards the protection and the conservation towards the Atlantic salmon and the American eel. So the results from this project will be, of course, after the October 22nd when the researchers are done here. But there's still a lot of work to be put together for of all the information I receive. A final report would be produced out to the funding agency and also to the community and chief and council that are here, and we'll go over it. We'll have sessions. Also with this here program, and I've talked to the researchers already, is that we're going to have a smudging ceremony for these individuals that have participated in this program. We're looking at the end of 120. We can't do 120 all at once, so we're going to divide that into 6. and do a smudging ceremony for all the participants, youth, elders, and adults that participate in this very important IKS study for the Little River. And they will be here to witness and to actually feel a smudging ceremony to cleanse their spirit and their soul as well. So it's a good project. The results from the project is going to be beneficial not just to DFO and to Chief and Council and stuff. It's going to be beneficial for the salmon and for the eel and all the other fish species within that little river system. Can't wait for the project to be done, and when results do come in, I will definitely broadcast that out into our Pabineau First Nation website, which is www.pabineaufirstnation.com. Look it up after October 22nd, and you'll get more information.
The Canadian film and TV industry recognizes it's time to build a better workforce, which includes more opportunities for Black, Indigenous, and persons of color. HireBIPOC.com is here to help make this happen. Whether you're already in the business, trying to get a start, or in a position to hire, HireBIPOC.com could connect you to the right people. From script to development, production to post, distribution to marketing. Check out HireBIPOC.com now and help build a stronger industry together.
My mother said we had to leave home. The communists were going to take my father away. If my parents were afraid, they didn't show us. But we would never forget our escape from Vietnam. We were lost.
What was your job in Vietnam?
University professor.
We had no home.
Do you have any family in Canada?
No, sir.
Nobody wanted us.
Welcome to Canada.
Canada chose us.
Canadians opened their borders, their homes, and their hearts to more than 100,000 refugees fleeing persecution after the Vietnam War.
We were home.
I'm Mallory, and I was walking home one night when an impaired driver hit me. He had been overserved in 2 bars before getting behind the wheel. If the servers would have called him a cab instead of serving him more alcohol, my life would be the same as what it used to be. I think servers play the biggest role in keeping us safe because it's up to them what state the person's in when they leave. Refusing service isn't personal, it's the law.
It started as the Jewish market. Victorian houses became storefronts, kosher butchers, tailors, and bakeries. Soon enough, other immigrants came to our community. Each arrival added a piece to the patchwork of our bustling bazaar. We all understood that with hard work, anything was possible. Over time, faces and languages changed, but the spirit of our village inside the city remained. See, it didn't matter where you were from, the market became home.
Neighborhoods like Toronto's Kensington Market have helped shape Canada by bringing newcomers shoulder to shoulder to build new lives together.
Another story that my dad told was one about Booing, which in today's context people call it a witch, but in the Mi'kmaq worldview, she's not a witch. It actually could be male or female, and she's more like a person who has very special powers and can be a midwife or someone in the community that is very powerful and can help in these ways that are needed, and has the ability to foresee into the future and take that knowledge and use it in such a way as to help the community members. So Buwin was very, very important member of the community. And my grandmother was a Buwin, I was told, and so was my aunt. And there's a story that my dad told about one time on this road here, the Pabineau Road. My aunt was wanting to get a ride into town, and she wanted to sell her baskets, her birch bark baskets. And these fellows went by in a horse and wagon, and they just disregarded her. They said, no, we're not going to help you. So she said, okay, well, I'll meet you in town. And they kept going, and then they fell on bad luck. The horse fell, and the horse just dropped and fell and died, and then they had to find their way toward town. But when they finally did get to town and got everything going again, they saw her there selling her baskets on the street, and they didn't know how she got there. So the lesson of that story is to be very careful about who, be kind to people. Don't just pass them by, help them on their journey, and because you're not any further ahead. If you think that you're getting further ahead, you're not really. So yeah, these legends are very interesting to me because they're very simple ethics that help you in your life, that are, it's like something that propels goodness around the world. So in terms of legends, like, and how important they are to community, in my own work as an artist and a storyteller, I'm fascinated with legends because to me, they're transformers of mindsets. They can change your mind, just like these stories are an oral tradition and they're passed on and they change over the years, and they also change like with each situation. So for me, it's like these stories live on, and we can use them as a form of transforming how we think about things and carrying on goodness, and also warning people about like dangers of certain ways of navigating your life. So I've been fascinated with legends because I find that they create a wellness within the community, because if you have your stories, then you know who you are, and they also carry the language as well. So, even if a lot of people are worried about language retention, and I don't worry about it so much as I find that if you know one word, even if you knew 5 Mi'kmaq words, but you knew the real meaning of the words and how, in the context of how they were used, then the language is retaining and it's continuing on. And the thing about the Mi'kmaq language is one word, it can mean, people learn it, but then they learn like a literal meaning to it. Like, for example, the word wasadeg. Wasadeg means light from the dawn, if you look at it. Like, if you look at the word and you get the literal meaning of what it is. But my father, who told me that word, when he told me what it meant, he said it means when it's dark and then all of a sudden you notice it's light out, which is a total, complete other poetic way of seeing something, right? So language is the key to knowing how people lived, and also their philosophy, how they lived at a certain time. So if we carry that on today, I think it's a really wonderful thing because we're carrying on a way of being, and our identity is really like solid, and we feel good, and we can navigate in that way. So I like that. And another word is Welnawek. Welnawek is a breeze, but the meaning of it, when my father told me, it can mean like a nice cool breeze, but he said it's when you're standing outside and then you're just, waiting for something that is going to like refresh you or make you feel really good, and then all of a sudden you feel that wind pick up, and then you feel it, and it's like wasadeg, Welnawek, and you feel that that coolness or that refreshing feeling. So the words describe a feeling, really, and but yeah, so that's a cool So another thing that's very important in the Mi'kmaq culture is the surroundings, our natural surroundings. We are from the land, the landscape is interconnected with us. And oftentimes I'll go to the beach and I really like a beach that has a lot of stones, because I was told by my father that our ancestors, these were our ancestors. I have one here that I chose from Beresford Beach. And he said that the rocks were alive, they were animate. The Mi'kmaq language is a verb-based, which is action, so everything is alive, everything. And so when I walk there, I really feel like I'm surrounded by my ancestors. And then if you notice a rock when you're walking that kind of stands out to you, last night this is the one that really stood out to me. So I picked it up and it was, you can really feel that energy, there is a difference in it. So if you notice a rock when you're walking somewhere and it stands out to you, that's an ancestor that wants to come and help you and be a part of your journey. Just put it in your pocket, keep it with you. It'll help you through your whatever journey that you're going through. And you'll see that the energy, it quickly takes on the warmth of your hand, and you can feel it, and it's just a really beautiful thing. It can ground you. If you say there's something really tough that you have to do or take care of, the stone that you find is your ancestor. Now another thing, these are also stars. They're from the Milky Way, and the Milky Way is called Eskidegimochue Auti, which is the spirit path, and that's where we come from. That's said to where we come from. So I often call these stars, like from the Milky Way, right? So that's just a look into our philosophy and how we view things in our Mi'kmaq culture.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
I'm a singer-songwriter from Six Nations, and I've been writing songs about my experience, and with that being said, it's helped me hold hope in my heart in following my dreams and being resilient to everyday Indigenous battles.
Competition between spirit, earth, and wind, let me tell you now.
This song in particular, The Shiner, is a special song that I wrote for my grandfather. He was a snow snake maker, and that is a Haudenosaunee winter sport. It's my job to educate and to share, and the music allows me to do that.
He'll be shining snow snakes and mudcats to the end of his days.
At St. John Ambulance, we're all about community.